get what you're looking for, because like I had to take these two. They're not the two that I would normally take. I'll be honest with you, right? But also when you get out of a case, when you buy from you get a box case, and like I do, 4 or 5 come to a case, you don't get a good look at them before you get them out either. So you have this opportunity. So make sure that if you go to one HEB, it doesn't have what you want, try another one, because you'll find it, okay? So we got some raw briskets over here. Let's see. Yeah, this one's, what are we now, 13 pounds? Yeah, okay, so this is a 13 pound, which is actually, I prefer 16, I'll be honest with you. You know you're going to lose 50%, right? Between trim and the smoke, when it renders, you're losing 50% of your weight. And that's another thing to take into consideration. That's also another reason brisket prices are so high at the restaurant or at a joint. So, let's get this out of this cryo bag. And again, this one, nice, it's pliable. There's a lot of soft, billowy fat. That's what I'm looking for. That makes the best fat cap. But it's got a couple of weird cuts that I wouldn't necessarily like. Alright. You guys, we'll go over the difference between the flat and the point, in case anybody doesn't know. The flat is where your lean portions come from, right? And that's from the thinner end of the brisket. So this right here. Okay. So, I think we have a camera. Yeah, I can see it pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Thank you to our Friday free admission sponsor,
Yeah, I can't
Tough
really see that
Shed.
doesn't. Okay.
Visit Tough Shed at booth 551 and get inspired with custom storage solutions designed to organize and enhance your outdoor living space.
This portion right here, off the top, is something that I'm always going to cut down immediately. So there's a big chunk right there that's going to come out. But the very first thing I'm going to do, okay, is on the bottom, non-fat cap side, I'm going to take out there's a really thick fat vein right here. It's a decal fat vein. And that's the first thing I always do. I don't spend a lot of time trimming off the bottom so much of my brisket because it's going to burn off. So I don't worry about that so much. But now we're back on top. This is the fat cap. What I'm going to do is I wanted to create something that's relatively oval from what I have here and also aerodynamic. Let's get this off. And if you have a grinder at home, this stuff you can add, use for sausage. If not, it will be waste. The fat, typically, I render the fat for tallow. There is a knuckle part of the brisket, right? It really doesn't belong there. So it is, again, somewhat of waste, but good sausage, right? So most importantly for me is that I want to make sure this is level. There's some ridges here, right? A couple of ridges. I want it to be flat because ridges will burn. And, it just really not taste very well. So try to get that down to where it's level across the top. And also a big tip about using your knife, if you keep your hand behind your knife, right, you will never cut yourself. Hopefully I haven't just jinxed myself, but that's typically the case, okay? Keep your hand behind the knife and you don't run as big a chance of cutting yourself. Alright, so trying to level this out some. Now there's fat right here, this billowy fat. That's what I'm going to render. I'll cut some of it off from the meat, separate it, but this is the fat that you want to keep and render for tallow, man. And there's so much you can do with that. Okay, there we go. Can you guys see that okay? Yeah. There we go. All right, so now, my belief is that anything on the sides, that have been touched by the cryovac machine, which is a possibility, I'm going to take everything off the side, and it's not going to be a lot, but just enough to expose pretty meat again. Okay, that's one side. Then we'll go down this other side. And again, if there's a sausage in your future, this is what you're going to be making it with. You'll have a great source of material to make sausage with if you're trimming brisket. So then I want to round off the end a little bit. Make that into more of an oval. Okay. Put that down. You've got a little bit of a ridge right here. And again, like I said, this brisket had some weird cuts in it right here and right here. So I'm just trying to, I don't like to create anything that's going to pull fat either, because you want that area to develop bark. And if you're pulling fat, like it can collect in the area that has a divot like that, it doesn't bark up as nicely. FYI. Okay, so that's pretty much what I'm going to be looking for, right? So it's got more or less, it's an oval shape, right? We could probably do a little bit more of this right here. But an aerodynamic, okay? So this is going to be your point. This is where they call the fatty portion of the brisket. That's my favorite, most people's favorite. So their two muscles have intersected there. So you cut it down the middle and separate them. And the fatty, you're going to make, we'll show this later, we're going to turn it like 1/4 turn to trim it, all right, or to slice it. It is different than the flat. The flat, when we separate it, we're going to slice straight across this way, or perpendicular, or horizontally. And that will render your lean slices. So, fatty at the point. Okay, guys? That's it. So, we're going to move on to getting this one rubbed up, okay? And start with mustard. People always ask me about the mustard. Again, mustard is your friend with beef and pork, okay? It's going to create, well, one, it's an incredible tenderizer. It leaves no residual flavor, guys. None. You will never know that you ever had mustard on your brisket or any of your meat. And does create the best bark you will ever have, okay, on any of your meat. If you get these gloves back on. Once your hand gets wet, man, it's hard to get the gloves back on. That's too funny. But yeah, so, let's see. That's pretty good brisket. Yeah, so once we get this rubbed, we'll get the binder on, we'll rub it for you, I'll show you what that looks like, and then I've got one that we've actually cooked, and I'm going to slice that for you. At least you get an idea of what the bark looks like, all that good stuff, right? Put this over here. And I'm sorry to waste that in front of you, but I do not have a sausage machine or any way to do anything with it here, okay? So, there we go. So I do this as cleanly as possible. How about that? Okay, oops. All right, so I go very liberally with the mustard. It's not just a little; it's it's going to be quite a bit. And you want to cover all the surfaces from the side, top. You're not worried about the bottom. So sides and tops. All right. Make sure you got that really well. All right. So once I've got that mustard on, this is sprinkling the rub that I have already ground up. I grind my own pepper, corn, and then mix it with the kosher salt. Let's get this out of your way. All right. I tell you what, in barbecue you go through a lot of gloves. A lot of gloves. And thank God we can handle meat hot now, directly off the pit. We have cotton gloves we wear into this, and you can just pick your meat up off the pit and do whatever you need to do with it, So there's good. So I'm going to start on the point. I like to start on the end. And I am typically right-handed, but I'm doing this with my left hand. I'm not really sure why. Let's do that. All right, so I like to go around, get all the sides, right? I want to get all the sides first. I start at the back of the point. Make sure I've got everything pretty well. Got everything good there. Okay. So then, I'm going to go across the top. A little bit more. I'm sorry, I'm making a mess, guys. Whoever has to clean up after me, Aaron, I'm so sorry. There you go. Oops. That over there. There we go. So that's pretty much it. So you want good coverage. You're not covering up where you don't see any mustard, but you definitely have full coverage, right? And that's going to render a really good bark. So I'm going to show you what that looks like once it's cooked. We'll do that next. I'll pull that out. How many here have cooked brisket? You don't have to worry about handling. You can cut, you can do anything with them on. Highly suggest. And the temperatures, it handles pretty hot stuff. Woohoo. All right. I cannot believe that July is already over, man. I cannot believe the year's flown by so quickly. I'd be ready for fall, though, myself. I don't know about you guys. Oh, my goodness. I'm going to set this right here for a second. All right. Let's do this one. Next one. All right, now this, I do butcher paper, as we said. Once my bark is completely formed, and not until then, I wrap with butcher paper at that point. I usually like to pull it at about 2.7 to 2.12, okay? But I go by feel more than anything at this point. So I'm not really looking for, like I don't have to have 12 hours and know that, that's making a good brisket. It's about the feel, and then I tell you the most important thing is going to be about the rest, right? So flat, this is a small brisket. This would be the flat, right? This is your point. And again, as I said, the point seems to be what everybody really prefers, but there, some for everybody. You're going to take slice it in the middle, separate, flat, point. Turn the point 1/4, and then start slicing. Right? All right. So this is a small brisket, but it's still, that's what you're looking for, right? You see, where's the camera at? There we go. The butter, not butter. The fat looks like butter. It's rendered really nice. It's opaque. It's not white. You know that's rendered, right? And then obviously it really pulls and comes apart nicely. That's on the point, and we'll look at some lean portions as well. Get that out here. All right. So this is our lean, right? It's going to hold up. Everybody likes to do the bend thing, but that's kind of, I don't know, whatever. Everybody likes to do that, but it's something. It's a thing. But bottom line, it's going to be about how it pulls apart, and then how it tastes, and how it melts in your mouth. That's the most important thing. But that is what a brisket will look like once done, once rendered. I think that everyone puts, there's a little smoke ring on it. It's not a big smoke ring. Bigger briskets get bigger smoke rings. I want to tell you that right now. But yeah, so that's about it. So you've got your flat, you got your point, you got some nice slices that come off both sides. At this, it should be tender, it should be juicy. Can you guys see that? Yeah, right? The hold. A lot of people don't know the secret about the hold, right? So when you take the brisket off the pit, set it on your counter for 1 hour at least, bring the temperature down, it stops the cooking process. Before you want to try to, if you're using a dry cooler or if you've got a warming cabinet, you want to let the brisket come down into the 170s, right? And then put it into your cooler or your warming cabinet to let it rest 4 hours minimum. 12 hours is the sweet spot, okay? Trust me. 12 hours will change your life, okay? And it's well worth it. You've put so much money into that brisket. You could pay 120 bucks for it, right? Then the wood cost and your time involved, that 12 hours makes the payoff, golden, okay? You don't want to miss that. So if you haven't tried it, please do. 4 hours is good, all right? Don't get me wrong. And you will have a great brisket. 12 hours, you will have the most incredible brisket, okay? So give that a thought. So with that in mind, I think we're down to, let's say, one brisket. I'm going to get to the point here when I'm going to want to take questions, guys. So anything you have, you let me know. But see what time-wise we do. We just have a few minutes. We try to get to the. Okay, guys, let her rip, man.
12-hour cool down.
4-hour holding. Okay, so no. So you've taken the brisket out. Say you pulled it at 210, right? You set it on the counter for at least 1 hour. That is cooling it down and stopping the cooking process. Because if you were to take that brisket, put it straight into a dry cooler, it continues to cook. So dry it out, it's not going to be very good, okay? It typically will dry it out, but if you let it sit on the counter, let its cooking process stop, and then put it into a warming cabinet at 145 or your cooler, dry cooler, 4 hours minimum. Let it rest there, don't open it, okay? That's when everything is redistributing, right? Everything is redistributing, all the juices will be there. When you cut that thing open, man, it's all gonna be there. It doesn't all run out, it's just there, you know what I mean? It kind of drips out, you can see it. But if you were to, again, just take it and put it straight to a hot environment and continue to cook, that's the number one lesson right there. 4 hour minimum, 12 hour maximum, yes.
Okay, so would it be hot still after
It's going to still be warm. Yes, it will be warm. Like I'm saying, if you can get down to the 170s, you know that it stopped cooking, right? So when you put it into that cooler or a warming cabinet at 145, it's going to come down and set right there. And it really, trust me, man, it will change your life. Okay? Absolutely. Yes. And you don't have to really do that so much with pork and chicken. You let everything rest like 15 minutes or so, but that brisket, man, steaks, 15 minutes, 30 minutes is even better on a steak, okay? FYI. All right, anybody else?